Councilmember Noonan.
Here.
Councilmember Killian.
Here.
Councilmember Stewart.
Here.
Councilmember Donahue.
Here.
Supervisor Fish.
Here. Vouchers have all been signed. We have no items for discussion. There are 3 transfers tonight. Would the clerk read those for us, please?
Let's see. It's being proposed that $25,000 be transferred from account A1355.401, General Assessor Legal Services, and $25,000 to be transferred to A1420.4, General Attorney Contractual, and $1,170 be transferred from account A1990.4, General Contingent Account, and $1,170 be transferred to account A3989.4, General Other Public Safety Contractual, and $500 be transferred from account A1990.4, General Contingent Account, and $500 be transferred to account A1010.4, General Other Public Safety Contractual.
Thank you. Looking for a motion to approve the changes.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Looking for a motion to approve the warrant as audited.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Looking for a motion to adjourn.
So adjourned.
Second. Come on, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you. It'll stay.
Hey, Chris. Yeah, I was. There's some good things, so. You hanging out? You stay for the whole meeting?
Well, 11.
What's that?
11.
Oh, really?
Oh, okay. You're talking about that? Yep. Okay.
Jesse, how you doing?
Did you get?
Highway stuff?
No. Right. Did you get that, email from Bill Kimball in the box?
In my box.
That's where the sewer fees come off from.
Okay, thank you.
How much?
Thank you for that.
How much he went for him with estimated that. I also contacted those walls, and I looked it up online, and they haven't upgraded theirs since 2022, but theirs are 29, 32, 3,800. Water tapping fees are twice as much as our water tapping fees are.
Okay,
Twice as much.
okay, thanks.
This was Glenn's Paul's car, it's the only copy we got of that.
All right.
That was my packet. It's a different Kerry Warner's office.
Oh,
Yeah.
sign this.
Small readings here, really. It's that's a whole other.
So last year today, that's from them today. Just got done having another meeting. They really wanna do this, but they don't sign a contract, they're set on funds. You might know more about this. Sports connections, half of our hydrants have them and half of them don't, they're looking to have them all be the same. I didn't go ahead.
There's a running hydrants that the hoses, they have all of them universal. Anyone that doesn't have it, shut up.
Okay, so then it's something we can handle. So they were 100% said, they're 100% said that there's some that have the screw on stuff, and they have to put an adapter on. I can ask them for a list, but maybe,
I don't think you were here. First, right, they were special. Senator. I cut all the way down through there. We thought that was the end of it, if there's any others out there.
they're adamant that there's some. So we don't Christian maybe? I didn't want to deal with that.
Everybody, so.
Apparently, the definitely must be just one, I don't know why else they would say that. I'm gonna grab Chris on this one. Because otherwise they have to sign a contract next month. So we need to contract with answers. They're trying to save money because they're going through everything we know. So I don't know, we used to, probably used to.
Maybe that's something.
Maybe if I could assign, like, you know, we just hired a manager, maybe he's able to assign just one person. I just gotta get answers. They run hard. I don't know. Hey, Chris, can I talk for 1 second?
Sure.
Hey, go
Good
ahead.
evening. Finding. I was like, is it really? They changed their mind. You know what I mean?
Thanks for sending me the thing between the school district.
That's the only thing I have.
Doesn't explain why you are collecting for our number.
That's where I emailed you before, because Diane mentioned that Hudson Falls collects for the others gets money, gets paid by the other school districts, or the other towns whose kids go to Hudson Falls. They don't live in Hudson Falls, they get paid. How do they work that out? I don't know.
Thank you.
Just get it done, so.
Notice he's choosing to not sit on that side after you said that. I see, I see. there's nobody at the window, it doesn't matter, you know. But if there's 10 people, I guess I could relabel it and be like, for faster service, do these things, bring your whole bill. These things take longer, you know. We have people still walking in from marriage licenses, and I'm like,
What's that window of time you try to
if
get
you've
the
never been
meetings
married
inside?
before, it takes about 15 minutes.
What's that window of time you're trying to get the meetings in for the budget workshops? Like, what are you between now
Yeah,
and?
that's easy. Right. And if nobody else is there, when they ask for marriage one.
Jeffrey gave us that,
It's 10, 15, 16, 17, 17.
We're in the middle here.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much.
Right now.
just got resolved.
Yes, you know why? Because the other track will never do the backside. New one, yes, you can only do the front side. I know. I tried, sir.
All right, good evening. Welcome to the end of the month town board meeting, September 24th. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Noonan,
Here.
Councilmember Killian,
Here.
Councilmember Stewart,
Here.
Councilmember Donahue,
Here.
Supervisor Fish.
Here. Stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item number one, we need to set some future meetings. We have our budget meetings coming up. The dates and times that are proposed here for the board. To pick out some of these days that we can do it, it's October 10th. It's a Thursday, Tuesday the 15th, Wednesday the 16th, Thursday the 17th, Tuesday the 22nd. So that'll be something that you can look at your calendars and go over and get back to us maybe by the next meeting, or get back to my office and we'll, that's it. And item 2 is the approval of the minutes. Need a motion to accept and approve the minutes for the end of the month audit meeting for July 23rd, 2024 as submitted. That'd be myself, JD, and Kyle.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Next, it's a motion to accept and approve the minutes, the month-end meeting and regular town board meetings for October 27th, 2024 as submitted.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. At this time, it's a public comment period. The first one, anybody wishing to speak to the board about anything on the agenda tonight can do so. You've got 3 minutes.
Dominic Town, Cedar Lane. I would be remiss if I didn't show up tonight because I saw the local law for the solar amendment. Naturally, I'm in complete favor for it. As you all know, I've been coming here for years trying to encourage both administrations to do whatever they can to condone and promote and encourage solar power. And for a minute, I'll take you back because there's 3 board members here that probably weren't at the meeting years ago. And for certain, there's a lot of people here that weren't at the meeting because back then, talking about 5 years ago, the crowd, or I should say the spectators, usually were fewer than the 5-member board. So I was at the meeting where, toward the end of the meeting, the former supervisor just happened to notify the rest of the board that town was being approached by companies that wanted to do solar farming. Asked them to keep it in mind and discuss it in ensuing meetings. The only problem was, just before he adjourned the meeting, he said, and this is pretty much a quote, you can go back to the meeting, "I'm personally opposed to any solar farming in the ag district." And as we all know from the past administration, that means case closed. So now I'm gonna flash forward because I only got 3 minutes. But now we gotta go forward. And as I've been talking to the board lately, we gotta join the 21st century. And I think this law, especially as it's gonna be overseen by the town board, you are our elected representatives. I think that we got enough guidelines in place with it. And I said that before about getting the town into the 21st century. It's free, the sun is free out there. And all of the pros and cons at this point, pros win out. And I just strongly encourage the town to do so. And the other thing is that it boils down to common sense. You can pass all the laws you want to regulate it, and certainly it's not going to be perfect. You can amend it as you go along and get some experience under your belt. But just common sense says, if you want solar, you should have it, you should be able to apply for it. If you don't want solar, or the logistics say you can't, because this all started because of a handful of family-owned farmers that wanted to tap into the transmission lines. Lots of others can't do so. I know I'm going past my time, but my common sense says, if you don't want solar, then don't apply for it. Don't put it on the roof of your house. Don't put it on the roof of your barn if you don't want it. But if you want it, you should have the right to apply for it. And it's gotten very frustrating that this has dragged on for 5 years. Instead of using common sense, politics rule the day. And like I said, I've gone over my time, but I strongly encourage, let's pass the law and let's get going. As far as I'm concerned, you can turn all of Route 9 properties into solar farms. There's nothing else going there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Whoa.
It has nothing to do with solar, but it's electrical grid. Good evening. Chris Barton. I live at 19 Briarhurst, and I own property at 148 Washburn Road in Dandsburg. And I'm also a former planning board member here for the town. And so I have a unique perspective as a landowner, someone who is advocating for a solar project, and someone who is helping to run and manage town business. I think the current overlay as written is pretty good, solid document. I would encourage the board to consider, language, the nuance of language is important, especially when it comes to writing laws and writing regulations. And, as written, I would a couple of minor changes. As a former planning board member, I think the planning board certainly should weigh in on any solar project. I think that's fair. That's part of their job, is to figure out use and planning as it relates to the current zoning in the town and the plans for the town. But I would also, some of the language as written could be construed as giving the planning board being the final arbiter of this and having final say. Page 6, paragraph D, preliminary site plan review and approval. I think I would look at wording more to the idea of preliminary site plan review and recommendation. Page 10, it's a reference to a special use permit being required. My interpretation would be the overlay district would supersede the need for a special use permit. That the special use permit seems to be extraneous to that. I'm not sure how it would apply. Page 12, if referred by the planning board, if referred by the town board, the planning board shall issue a preliminary approval report, site plan review, and approval. I think approval recommendation as opposed to approval. Planning board can certainly recommend whether they an approval or a disapproval, but again, I think the language should be a little clearer and more succinct there to not inadvertently give oversight to anyone, to the planning board on any of this. As I said before in the previous meeting, I appreciate almost everyone here on the board took the time to come down to my project and look at it. I appreciate that. Regardless of how you vote, you took the time to come down and show interest, ask honest questions, and be a part of that. And I appreciate that. So thank you. Thank you. Anybody else about anything on the agenda at all?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Olivia Feldman with Lightstar. I made some comments at a previous meeting. In general, of course, I'm in favor of the adoption of its responsible solar law. I think there are a few edits that need to be made, which I made comments about at the previous meeting. One additional comment I would like to give is that there's a line in section 5, part D2. The last sentence of that says that the planning board will make the seeker determination, but if it's not a given which agency is going to, or which board is going to take lead agency in a given application review. So I would remove that sentence because, the town board could take lead agency or the planning board could take lead agency. So I just think for clarification, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Go ahead, I'll wait.
Thank you.
Hi, Rachel McDermott. I live at 180 Old West Road. I own Dancing Green Farm Brewery, and I have been before the planning board. I think just my opinion on the proposed law as drafted is if there is an overlay district that sort of defines the parameters with which solar can be constructed, that projects that don't conform with that should go to planning board for review, but I don't quite understand why we would need planning board approval or review on a project that conforms with the law. Planning board tends to slow things down and cause a lot more headaches than I think it solves problems. So that would be my suggestion. I think also there's a zoning administrator now that's full-time. I would think would be reviewing these projects to see if they do or do not conform with the law. So I just don't think that if a project conforms, it requires planning board oversight, but. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Reed Antis, 11 Paris Road. Reviewing the minutes of the previous meeting, the comments, I'd be interested when we discuss it later this evening. The comments from the planning board, I thought they had some very good, interesting comments that they brought up. I was wondering if the one or any of the other board members discuss how that influenced the board on their decision, or the comments that the planning board created that had no influence on the board's decision. So, because you did ask them and they did give a nice report, they made 6 or 7 interesting points that I thought was good. So I'm curious from the board when the opportunity comes, see how that influences the situation. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Good evening, Bob Yellow, 40 Mountain Road, Gansford, New York. Just wanted to make out the point that we've been discussing solar laws for years now. And as I expressed before, they got approval for the Spire Falls Dam way quicker than we got to this point. So for the local solar law, over the years, I've emailed it to board members prior to this board, several surveys from several universities about agrivoltaics and how solar and farming pair very well together. So it's a chance for the town to take a step forward and help both industries out. Looking at the actual law, some of the restrictions, and I deal with multiple states for permits, this is some of the most restrictive solar restrictions there is in the industry. I don't think you've let anything slide through here. If anything, you need to back off on a few items, in my opinion. But it's time to move forward, get it approved, and let the town move a step further forward. And we need more power with Spire Falls down. We just lost 58 megs for years. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Jack Wallon, US Light Energy for the record. I want to thank the planning staff for going through the trouble of writing and rewriting this law the last couple of months. We support the ordinance as written. The standards strike a fair balance between community needs and the industry's needs. We urge you guys to end this hearing tonight and vote on the ordinance. And we look forward to working with the town in order to permit an exemplary project. And thank you.
Thanks. Anyone else? All right, moving on. Item number 3, Water and Sewer Department. The property at 1606 and 1608 Route 9 has mistakenly been assigned 2 water EDUs for 2023. They've paid double for their water capital charge since March 7th of 2023. The water and sewer operator has looked at the property, said it should be 1 EDU. There's a garage and a small house on the same property. and there's water to the small house. One house, one family house, one EDU. So the board has a copy of the bill, and Anna added it up and what extra amount was paid from March of 2023. I'm looking for a motion to change 1606 and 1608 Route 9 to one EDU and authorize a refund of $247.80 to the owner, Frankfurt.
So,
Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. After a meeting with our engineers, talking with them, I'd like to move forward with setting a sewer buying capacity fee. We have residents in this town that are looking, they're looking to hook up to our sewer, and we need to establish a fee to do this to start with. We have a need for capacity, for density in this, over this whole thing. We have a bill to pay. We need people to join the sewer project, to join the sewer system. The fees that we talked about are $3,000 an EDU. I've met with different developers, different people, and everybody thinks that that's more than a fair price to be charged. Our engineers also feel that way, and I'd like to establish that fee at this time if we can. So I'm looking for a motion to set a sewer district 1 buying capacity fee. That's everybody in the sewer district, anybody, anywhere. A capacity fee of $3,000 per EDU.
And Supervisor, just for clarity's sake, the board would adopt a proposed rate, we would publish it, and then you could finalize it. So that's technically what you want to do.
Okay.
Would it be a local law?
Just a resolution.
A resolution?
I mean, we'll publish it. I can't recall off the top of my head how long, but we'll publish it, and then you adopt it as the final rate at whatever time you want to.
I'd make a motion to set the out-of-district user rate in District 1 at $3,000 to be published as the law requires.
Any discussion?
Can I ask how many proposed EDUs we're looking at here?
If somebody has 100 EDUs, for instance, if it's an apartment complex or something, they're gonna pay 3,000 times that 100, or $300,000 in order to buy into the sewer system.
So do we know how many though, numbers we're looking to have pay this fee, like right now, like a hard number or?
Anybody that gets in, we've got a half a dozen people looking to join the sewer now that have compromised septic systems and whatnot. The sewer runs by their homes.
Yeah.
There's no reason why they shouldn't be able to get in. And they would be outside users, and what happens in that case is they remain an outside user. They pay the last fee of whatever was set up in that district until such time a new district is created, then they would incur that fee. They would become part of the new district.
And sorry that I'm just seeing this yesterday and today, but what, how is that different than what we had before? Do we not have anything in place right now?
Not that I know of, because the new district was all hooked up as it was done.
Okay.
So anybody that had a chance to hook up within that district, which was the voters that voted for that district, the 84 people that had a chance to hook up, did hook up. Now there's outside people that want to hook up that's outside that area.
So, okay, so that if we pass the resolution tonight, which sounds like we're going to get rid my concern is that I'm not opposed to it because I don't know all the numbers yet, but I want to make sure that we're doing what's best for the town for the future, not just passing this tonight to get this through. Like in terms of numbers and the financial stability of an agreement like this for what I think you need to maintain our system going forward. You know, I know there's quite a lot of fees that come along with this sewer infrastructure, so.
Trying to simplify it as much as we can.
Okay, I get
We're
that.
also working on an EDU fee, which I don't know what that number is gonna be. But as you get more people that buy into the sewer and you get more EDUs, the chance of that fee dropping is greater than I just sit there and end up having to pay the whole bill for it, so to speak.
And then just two things.
And that's everybody in the whole, that's in the sewer right now, anybody anywhere will pay that fee. And these fees can all be used for exactly that, helping to pay down anything that we've got to pay down anywhere. I talked to Jeffrey, we can make one big fund out of it where we can take out of it to do just that.
Okay. And then, is this, I don't know, again, one of the first actions we took back in January was something with super fees. Is this to kind of help fix the action that we took back in January? Again, I'm just trying to get myself up to speed, we haven't really had a chat about it, so, okay.
Two things, are they going to be responsible for the fees in the districts they are? So like if somebody in District 5 connects right now, or
All the fees are gonna be the same.
but some districts have higher debts than other districts. So if they connect in that district, are they going to now be responsible for that?
That's what the fee is gonna be for each district, and that'll cover everything that we have to cover.
But what I'm saying is, I guess my one question to get this, I pushed it to get it to conversation is, if they're gonna pay the $3,000, say somebody that doesn't fall in our extension 5, they're gonna pay $3,000 because they're on an extension that's already paid for, there's no debt. Now, does somebody that connects in extension 5, are they now gonna be part of the responsibility of the debt? Because they're hooked up to it and it's gonna be calculated that way?
Anybody that's actually in the user part of District 5, and anybody that's out, doesn't matter, any sewer district that there is, for instance, Williams Timbermart, for instance, he's got that project on Sisson Road.
Okay.
Sisson Road's gonna transport to Glens Falls, all right? He doesn't have to, he's not paying to go to Mechanicsville, but he's paying a $3,000 buy-in capacity fee anyways, because that's what everybody in the whole sewer district is gonna pay.
I understand that part, I guess my thing is everybody's gonna pay the $3,000 to hook up.
Correct.
And then obviously if their properties are in the extension 5, they're already part of the debt anyways.
Correct.
Because their property's on it, so it's across the board. The second part of this is I have to rescind the motion as I stated because I said that they're out of district users. They actually are in district users, they're just not hooked up. So I would actually just be adjusting and establishing.
Out of district users.
But are they out of district, because they're in the district?
Out of district users would be people that were not allowed to vote on the District 5 line. For instance, from Fort Edward Road to Reservoir Road. Nobody along there was allowed to vote.
Yeah.
But the line is in front of their house. They're not in a district. They're not in the district because they get just, they become out of district users if they want to get in. That's where the out of district agreement comes in.
Okay, so then,
Other than that, it's like, say, Everhorse Development is not an out of district user, but they still pay the same fee because they're in sewer district.
and then our in-district users would pay the fees that are already established.
Everybody will pay the fees, including the town of Monroe and including the LLC in the Monroe Industrial Park, because they now become part. They turn a bypass line on from the industrial park, goes down to Route 9, they become part of the new sewer district.
I mean, our point of putting all these sewer lines is to get people to hook up, so we can get more people on it to take down our sewer rate. Obviously, all the properties that are already in extension 5, if they're hooked up or not, are already paying for it, so I don't think it feels like we're just are getting billed. So I would say that I just want to make sure my wording was right, but it's not good.
Mark, I think in the place that your question was earlier as far as, is the debt going to be any different from any other user getting hooked up? You know, so I think we need to start here, you know, to, you know, initiate a cost that's gonna, you know, at least put us in a direction where we can have a good start, where people are gonna start tying into the line.
And I mean, I know that the last meeting or 2 meetings ago, we C2, our new crowd here. We've already hired C2 to be looking at the rate, looking at consolidating the districts, looking at the district rate. So this is just allowing more users on it, so I was thinking, did that work right?
I think so.
Yeah, it's a good start moving forward there too, we have to start somewhere, so.
All right.
rolling.
Sounds good. I think we had a motion in a second.
Correct.
Motion and a second, we had some discussion. Roll call.
Councilmember Noonan,
I'm just still not 100% comfortable with it, so I'm gonna be a no vote.
Councilmember Killian,
Yes.
Councilmember Stewart,
Yes.
Councilmember Donahue,
Yes.
Supervisor Fish.
Yes. A while back, I received some bills for grinder pump repairs at the Landmark Motor Inn. And at the time, as we looked it up, we didn't know what it was for because we didn't know that they were even hooked up to our sewer system. Things like that do happen. Things get dropped in between the lines and stuff. We found out that from March of '23, they were never billed for the use that they had. They are aware that they are hooked up to the town sewer, and they regularly call our staff for repairs and requests. They were assigned 29 EDUs, or 77 units there. The engineers that were on board at the time signed them with 29 EDUs. Previous water superintendent also assigned that same thing. That is what they should be billed for at this time. I'm looking for a motion to send Nadeem Majid prorated sewer bill from 2023 and part of 2024 to bring them current in the amount of $16,009.74.
And there's no penalty for those aren't all right. That's just no penalty, waive the penalty fee. Do we need a motion to send somebody a bill that they should be paying for?
This starts it, right?
Or to just send them a bill?
Is it out of the ordinary, or is it?
Because they didn't have, they didn't get any bills before. And they had just, they paid just for technical charge for 29 units. And now to bill them for sewer.
So assuming this is a resolution to take care of the situation.
I would do it by resolution.
I don't have to remember the name, but you just said the amount list. If you want to make the motion back.
$16,009.74.
Make a motion to bill Nadeem Lodging a prorated sewer bill for 2023 and for part of 2024 to bring them current in the amount of $16,009.74.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Item number 4. We've had a lot of different things discussed with this sewer law. And I do believe there's more things that we're gonna probably need to look at here. One of the things is, Erin has a letter I'd like her to read that we received this morning.
She apologized that she and her spouse weren't going to be able to attend, asked me to distribute this. We have lived in the town of Monroe for the last 16 years and have appreciated the rural character of Monroe, but have watched our farm slowly be replaced with housing developments. We own a farm in neighboring Washington County. We are both biologists, and we both have studied and worked in the environmental conservation field for over 25 years. We know the importance and value of responsible renewable energy development and believe that the proposed solar law has been carefully drafted to support both our farmers and the environment while generating energy for our community and neighboring communities. We want to keep the rural character of Moreau and know that responsible solar development is the solution. Thank you, Jackie and Nick Basile.
Thank you. We've also had some other comments made to us that we are still looking into a little bit, and I think that we're gonna let Josh look this over just a little bit more before we close the public hearing. We'll leave that open. And at the next meeting, we'll plan on trying to get that closed and get all the rest of the stuff together. But it's been a process. We want to make sure everything is right. So Josh, is there anything you want to add, or you're good? You're good with this? So we'll leave the public hearing open if we can. Good with that?
Public hearing after we make changes though?
It depends. How many changes are substantive, it's
So that was the only thing.
We'll have to publish it and put stuff out again, right?
Me.
So let's change.
My one recommendation would be, we've had multiple weeks of public comment on this draft. We have changes that we need to make as or consider as a board. And if we are going to make some of the changes that the planning board has recommended, some of the residents have recommended, and some of the solar developers have recommended, we're gonna have to then have another public hearing. And we would have to close and then set a public hearing for any major changes to the draft law.
You have to decide that, because Josh already revised the proposal. And the version that was put on the desk of the board back at the end of last month had a lot of the changes that were requested. And so you may, when you review that, and any other changes that Josh makes, you may believe that it comports with the public comments, and there's no need for any significant changes following the version that you have now. So you'll have to compare the two, determine whether or not there's significant changes, and decide whether it needs to be published.
So is this something that has to be tabled?
Well, I guess my one question would be then, if we're gonna consider making these changes, right? So normally our conversation on this as a board would be at the close of a public hearing. So then we would direct our zoning administrator to make those changes. And then we would then publish those changes so that it would be known, and then we would either have a public hearing or not. So I guess where I'm at is, if we don't close this, we're just pushing it along again, not getting to where we can have that conversation, because this would be the time to have that conversation with what's been brought forward, and we're just again pushing this for 2 more weeks, because I guess we've been open, going on the 3rd week of this being open, we haven't received it. So in my opinion, is our planning board members have reported to us, we've had some planning board members come and speak with us, and we've had the public an ample opportunity to speak on this. I would make a recommendation that we close this, give the direction from the town board to our zoning liaison for the changes that have been brought up. And then at that time, if those changes are considered substantial, we'll have to have another public hearing. But leaving this open right now to not get to this conversation, we're just pushing this again for 2 more weeks.
Let me ask Josh, all right, any change we made in the past, what we've done is board members have suggested changes to you. You would put them in an email, send it back out to us, we can underline, we can circle, we can do whatever we want to us. And then we come to some kind of consensus as to what we're gonna put forward. I think that might be the way to go about it, is put any changes in there, have them highlighted, send it to everybody, and have it ready for the next meeting, we can get it out, and then set a public hearing maybe at the next meeting. You know, put any changes, put our draft, in other words, on the website, as soon as everybody's weighed in on what changes we might want or not want. And then put it on the public website, and then we can set a public hearing maybe at the next meeting.
But we're closing this
Is that
now.
reasonable?
If you make changes without closing this, don't you have to set up a whole new public hearing?
We're having a public hearing on this, I believe we can modify it during the middle of the public hearing, can you?
Sure you can.
And then change it.
Sure you can.
So the board can do that. Doing that, because we haven't ever had a discussion, we just take it, and then we say, all right, we're gonna leave the public hearing open, and we never have a conversation as a board and direct Josh. We had one time, after we closed the last public hearing, made significant changes and then opened it up. So just saying we're gonna leave this open again and do it, all we're having is the same people come to us next meeting to talk to us and say that we approve of this and that they have concerns. So would this be the time now to have the conversation and say, Josh, we need to address point A through whatever?
Well, that's the point I was making, is that, you know, we can sit around like and tell Josh, Josh can do this and that, but if we have suggestions that we may have from public comments and stuff, this is how, I know this is how we did it with their past attorney and zoning coordinator. Is what we did is we shared our ideas through emails and stuff with Josh after the public hearings. It wasn't Josh, it was Jim at the time, and Carl. And the thing is too, what we did is, it would highlight. Mark suggests this, JD suggests this, and then we could all weigh in on it.
But that violates the open meetings law, that's what the conversation is.
How does it violate?
Because you're having board conversation to create a law behind an email.
And we broke a lot of laws, getting this law to where we're at today, because that's the way we did it.
And even the resolution for a public meeting, it can be amended and changed, like Glenn is saying.
So just to be clear, you're really only talking about whether you're closing a public hearing tonight or you're just leaving it open. That doesn't affect your obligation to renotice if there's been a substantial change. So I would just urge you not to worry about the mechanics of closing or opening the public hearing. Ultimately, it depends on the version that you get from Josh next, because you have one on your desks right now that's been sitting pursuant to the municipal home rule law that you could pass tonight if you wanted to. You apparently would like some more changes, and so you have to tell Josh what changes you want. Otherwise, you have to just suggest to him to make changes based on the comments that he's heard tonight. And then he'll present you with another version. And you need to decide both legally, but as a board policy, whether you want to put that back out. And if so, we can ask the clerk to make sure it's published on our website and continue to invite comment if you wish, or you cannot invite comment.
So it sounds like we can keep this open.
I have no question, I have no problem leaving it open. I guess where I'm at is if I email Josh something and another board member doesn't agree with my opinion, then we're just going back and forth. But right now, we have a discussion and get this ready to get passed. Because emails back and forth and then coming back here is just, there's a few major things that have come back that haven't been changed that I agree with. I agree with the fact that the whole special use permit really wouldn't be needed with how the rest of the law is put up. I think we should really look at that. The site plan, I do agree with some of the words because we are wording it to be very gray. Because right now it does say that it would be planning board approval. So if we're gonna send it over there and it's gonna be planning board approval, well, if they don't approve it, well then is it a done deal? Because right now, we're not getting approval. So can they come back to us or are we just sending it like a PUD and we're getting a favorable determination or not? So there's a lot of things in this law still that need to be picked apart because right now, it's gonna be that gray area where the applicant's gonna come back to us and it's gonna say, yeah, we didn't get approval from the planning board, but I'm back in front of you for approval. And then we're gonna be saying, well, we wrote it that it would have to be approval. So I think some of these wordings, and Mr. Martin said, like, maybe we should be looking to say that comes back to us as a recommendation, just like a PUD that's favorable or not. The decommissioning that was brought up at the last meeting. Are we gonna set a time frame? Is the decommissioning plan time frame gonna be part of the final site review? Or are we gonna have a whole separate section that says you have 365 days to decommission it at the end of your term? So this whole, everybody keeps saying that they wanna get this done, but doing it via email is just not gonna get it done because I'm gonna say that we should do this, then it's gonna come back, I don't agree with that, we should do this. And it should be a conversation right here for everybody to hear how we got to our final law, not just here's the law.
In my estimation, again, just hearing comments, talking with Josh and having heard the board speak now on 3 different meetings, there's maybe 5 issues that need to be addressed. So, and they're not very complicated, and you could do them one at a time in a few minutes, I would presume, and then Josh would know exactly what to do. You don't have to vote, but you could do some consensus work, and then you could ask him to revise it. And we can walk through those if you want to. If you want to do it another time, that would be fine too, but, it's however you want to get Josh the direction and not violate the open meeting. So I think that's what Councilman Stewart is suggesting. So, like, for example, the issue of the special use permit. There is no requirement for a special use permit. It doesn't really matter about, it's a non-issue. There's a typographical error which left those words in one place. It doesn't require a special use permit. So clearly you've indicated, let's take that out. Josh is planning to delete that erratic language, which was just a leftover from the change from the last version. So that's an easy one. The other one about the role of the planning board, that's pretty simple too. The way Josh had revised it based on all the comments that he got and that you gave to him was that the project does get a site plan review approval from the planning board. A lot of suggestions tonight, and what Councilman you just said indicates that perhaps a recommendation, like in other processes from the planning board, is a better approach. If you all agree with that, you can just say, yeah, we agree with that, and Josh can take that and he can go back. That's the second item. We can do those. So
and I'm fine carrying through that. I think I'm just trying to push this along to give him direction as a board where he doesn't come back and make changes. Josh has done so much. Those are my, I think, 5 major points, and I'm just gonna make it as a board, and we don't all have to agree. I really think that the planning board side of this, leaving it as approval, I would like to see it more towards our PUD process, where they make a favorable or not favorable recommendation, termination. It comes back to us. I think leaving it as a final site plan approval, well, that's creating the gray area, because does that now stop them at phase 2, or do they come back in front of the town board even though they didn't get approval? So I think it would just be the recommendations from the planning board, and somehow, I believe that does follow almost word for word for our PUD process.
And does the rest of the board agree with that?
I would certainly agree with the points that Mark's making, the first 2 points that you made.
I've gone through it.
If you could run through them again.
Can you do them one at a time so Josh can do these?
We'll instruct Josh to put something together, we can look at it.
The supervisor, do you agree with that approach in terms of the planning board?
Get this done.
That's right. I just feel that I'd rather take 10 minutes and go through it, because that's the same point, so I appreciate you doing this to us. To go back to it, so is there any objection from the 5 board members of the recommendation from the planning board instead of, I guess the majority was, I'm in favor of changing the wordage so that it comes from the planning board, their recommendations as the same, similar format as we currently use our PUD. I believe Jamie confirmed. I'll let the other 3 board members.
Yes.
All right, Josh, can you please make that? The other one, go ahead.
Yeah, just adjust it.
Yeah, and then the other one was especially, it sounds like it is a draft. Grammar? Typo, okay. It was a typo, you already have that noted. Now I gotta go back to, what else I have to put? Oh, the seeker, that, I didn't, because Olivia brought that up. Is that in a question of lead agency now? Are we leaving that, are we already determining that the planning board would be the lead agency by having them, giving them seeker?
So when the planning board had an approval, which is different than a recommendation, substantially different.
We would have to be lead agency.
You would ultimately be, as between the planning board and the town board, you would clearly be the proper choice for lead agency. There might be another entity involved, another state agency that may want to be lead agency, and you might not want to. But yeah.
So I guess to clean up the verbiage, that it wouldn't automatically determine that planning board is the lead agency. The last part was the decommissioning plan. Can we set up a plan in there with an actual time frame, or can we put it in there as part of the law that it would have to be part of their final site, which is kind of what I get from the vibe of the word.
I think the decommissioning should be done as per project.
Perfect.
You know, depending upon, they all could be different. They could all be different.
Without going back, I think everybody's going to and then obviously there's going to be then the fact that there will be a public hearing, right? Because I believe right now it's kind of worded that there could be, but I think there should be a public hearing for all things.
They have to have a public hearing because it ultimately requires you to adopt the overlay district as its own change.
Okay, so that would be, I think, the major directions for Josh to head in, to bring back, to then put back out for public comment, to hopefully be closed on the 8th.
Can we just, while Josh is here, is there any other thing, Josh, that, I mean, I think the councilman had the same list that I had.
I got 5 items, just to be clear.
October.
Returning that planning board approval to planning board recommendation similar to the PUD.
Yep.
Striking the reference to the special use permit. The lead agency seeker issue will go to the town board. Just the decommissioning, make it clear that as part of the plan, that would be a consideration by the town board.
I would just say this part of the site, just maybe a bullet line that part of final site removal would be a decommissioning timeframe. As the supervisor said, it would be per the project, but I think that any future town board would be able to come up with a reasonable timeframe with, you know, the help of our resources for that project. I personally don't know. And then I think that was it. There was one more.
Public hearing, just clarify that.
And I think we have to anyways, or the overlay district.
Yes, and Josh, were there any other issues that you heard raised in the public comment period or from the board in the last 2 meetings that you would also like to see clarified?
No, I think the board, this is giving me the direction.
So ones that come to my head right now. I'm just trying to push this through. We've heard a lot of people talking about it. Thank you, Josh. Josh, for the first few months you've been here, you've been amazing. We've thrown a lot of stuff at you. So please don't take my comments at you as any way in question. You've been fantastic. So thank you in all this way. And thank you, board. I don't think we got through it. Kyle, I'm sorry if you went more. I apologize.
No, that's fine. So Josh, one of the things I asked you about, one of the public comments was quoted something from NYSERDA about a percentage of land, right? And you were gonna look into that, right? So
to that, that was from the model solar law.
Okay.
Can look at other possibilities if the board would like that.
That's fine. I just know someone had almost 2 times they said, you know, where,
and it was the usable land and you were gonna follow.
I did tweak that definition to clarify what that coverage was.
You did, yeah, you had it. I thought I saw it.
Thank you, Mark. This is a whole lot easier to do too.
Yeah, a lot done in 10 minutes compared to a lot of emails.
So.
Sorry for everybody that's not here for solar. Josh, thank you, and we will, obviously, it'll be part of the supervisor's packet for next week, but maybe the sooner we can get it on board, fantastic.
Thanks, Doug.
Thank you, Josh.
Thanks.
Well said.
Item number 5. Item number 5, highway department requests. Chris has submitted quotes for the brush grinding at the transfer station. Richard Sears was a little bidder, and Chris's recommendation, since they don't have an exact time for the project, we cannot do exceed resolution. We cannot do it, as Jeffrey clarified, that $8,000 was budgeted for grinding. We need a motion to hire Dick Sears, tree experts, to grind the brush at the transfer station at a cost of $3,000 per 8-hour day, not to exceed $8,000.
Second.
Any discussion? Motion carried. Highway reached out to 9 different tree companies to provide the town with pricing and tree removal. Chris has recommended Richard Sears tree experts. We would like to match up the tree contract with the budget year, looking for a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the contract with Richard Sears tree experts for proposed pricing for a term November 1st, 2024 to December 31st, 2025. So all in favor? Anybody opposed? Motion carried. Anything else, Chris?
Yes, I've had a few complaints. I've had a few complaints about, down at the new, trail down at Nolan Road. The way it's set up, complaints of motorcycles, dirt bikes, ATVs. I was asked to look at it by Jeremy. The way the layout is, previously we had boulders we put in place. Well, now it's kind of more decorative. There's really nothing I can do, short of putting fencing up, chain link fencing with just a door wide enough. I would actually have to accommodate handicap, but it's out of my realm of.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is a complaint that I actually spoke with Jeremy about, and I asked him to reach out to Chris. Some folks have reached out to Jeremy saying that there's four-wheelers ripping up into our blacktop sidewalks that we just released 2 weeks ago, because obviously it is in compliance, but that also allows the width for these ATVs and dirt bikes. I had to reach out to you in case we had a potential solution, and I think we're gonna have to reach out to our engineers to see what is gonna be compliant and what could deter them at this point.
So what about bollards, where bikes are allowed to go out there, and the e-bikes, go through there? So are we gonna make a bollard there too, where, all right, either people can walk through them, or bicycles can have a spot where they can go through, where it's allowed?
It's the clearance for the wheelchairs that is restricting us from any compliance. I don't know we can't be the only town that has a trail system going through this.
So we're not the only town that gets like that either.
I don't have any recommendations. Maybe the engineers have a design that they could use to put this through, I would say.
I walked the trail one day, and the next day, there's pictures the next morning. It was 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and 6 o'clock the next morning, there's pictures of an abandoned bicycle halfway around. You just take them and throw them, and there's just nothing you're gonna do to stop it unless you police them all the time. Put some cameras up or whatever. Anything else, sir?
Just under transfer station. Just under transfer station.
Chris, can I grab you on one item, just because it's here, it's highway department tree work. The fire department reached out to me in their front parking lot in between our, I don't know which property it's on, between our front rec building and their parking lot. There's one of those giant trees is dead, and they are requesting it be taken down. Would that fall under our Sears contract, or is it something that we would need to get separately quoted? Could you ask Sears if it would fall under their contract so we can get this tree down? It's definitely a safety concern.
Well, I'm sure Sears would be willing to do it, but whose budget is it gonna come out of?
Highway department has all the money.
We don't have that much money.
I don't have the answer. I don't even know if the tree, whose property the tree's on, is the town, and so. Fire department's part of this.
Is this?
All right, I'll get some more information and come back to you and see if Sears will give us, some quotes.
All set? Yep. Item number 6, transfer station requests 30-foot apron on Butler Road. Highway Department paving Butler Road. Highway Superintendent would like to repair the entrance to the transfer station and pave the ramp up to the ticket booth. Total cost of both jobs would be $28,0868, and it's definitely needed. Anything to add to that?
Just that, that's as close an estimate I can get. It could go a little under, it could be a little bit over, so I ask for a little leeway. When it comes to blacktop, it can.
$500?
Okay, I'll go with that.
I don't know. What do you guys think? This is gonna be a cold patch?
No. We're gonna tie in to Butler Road.
Okay.
And I wanna come in 60 feet just past the gates.
Yeah.
And then I wanna have to take out 70 feet of existing blacktop, recontour it so we don't trap water, and pave up to, almost to where the old scale was for the booth.
It needs it.
Yeah.
It does need it,
I make a motion to approve the paving, in the amount not to exceed what? In the amount not to exceed 3,500?
No.
Oh,
2,900.
you only need an $82 buffer?
no,
He wasn't sure.
yeah, I mean,
He wants 3,500 because he wants a $500 buffer.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But you should come in, you quoted it, you've measured it out, it should be roughly $2,800.
Roughly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Like I
hopefully,
say, it's a small job, so it won't be that big, but, a half inch here and a half inch there for a blacktop adds.
How
You
much
should
money do you
know.
want?
Could you put it at 3,500? I'm sure it'll be under that. Thank you.
not to exceed $3,500.
Okay. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well,
Thank you.
number 7, rec department requests. The rec department's looking to take over the old town water truck. Right now, we're trying to figure out what the cost of that would be, the expenses of repairing the truck. Jeffrey found that the trading value for this particular truck is around $7,600. And that's before the repairs. What's the board want to do with it? What do you think?
I personally am not in favor of it. The water truck is needing repairs and work. I know that we're looking to get them, but I would rather work through a budget, get them a new truck down there or the vehicle that's needed. Put this one out to, surplus and take it to auction, just like we have our other equipment.
Here's the truck.
13.
13?
So to potentially throw $7,800 is keeping them tied. I mean, if the rec department came forward to me right now and said they wanted to buy a 2013 truck from a private citizen that needed a bunch of repairs for $8,000 and it was 11 years old, I'd say that's a bad purchase. I know we're trying to move resources around between agencies, and it always helps, but with an 11-year-old truck, it's been sitting for quite a while. If the rec department needs a new vehicle, we should try to budget them a new vehicle and sell this off as we have in the past. Again, that's just my opinion, and I'm just one vote.
So they're gonna use what's the recommendation for?
It was just gonna be an extra vehicle, I understand, and try to help with some of the plowing, use it just for, they only got 2 plow trucks if one goes down.
This has a lot of camera. Yes.
Just to let you know what Jared, what Jeffrey had given me that number for the 7,600, he had put in the bid, and that's where that number came from, and then after determining what repairs it would need, would knock that down from the 7,600. So he's not suggesting at all for the rec to pay water 7,600 and then expenses and repairs on top of it.
How many miles on this truck?
It's under 100.
Again, I'm just, if the water department, we're willing to move it over to them to be used to do it, but I don't think it's a good use of money to fix it up this point. Again, if I'm not voted, that's fine. I
don't think they can just give it to them because of the fact that it's.
Settle for a very low amount compared to the money that we're looking at for it, especially with an unknown repair bill.
What about $1? Could they buy it for $1?
I think we could, there'd be a sale.
Jeffrey said you couldn't do it for $1 because it has to be a fair value, but that can be determined by the town. But like I said, he's not looking at saying 7,600, he just looked up the value of what that vehicle would be, absent issues that it has. I know that the rec director had asked for me to put this on the agenda because he would like it.
And that was Kelly Blue Book value?
I don't know where Jeffrey got it, I know he put it in the bin, so I don't know whatever that is.
Okay. So we need to vote on this, what are we doing here?
I don't even know if we have dollars on to vote on, so if you guys wanna put something through, obviously you can, it's your right as a board member.
Why don't we find out, take a look and see what exactly you think the repairs are gonna cost us
Yeah,
first,
exactly.
and we'll get back to it, visit it. We're still got time.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Jeremy asked my office about having inflatables this year at the trunk or treat. Dave Minger had gotten back, said that's something the town can do, and he would handle the insurance. The question is, what does the board want to do? Do we want only inflatables like the obstacle course, or do you want to consider bounce houses that previous boards did not want at the park?
If our insurance is gonna cover it, yeah, it's over discussion, I mean, I'm fine with, I move to get it the right way, I'd make a motion to approve bounce houses.
Second that.
And then to get to discussion, I believe previously it was, an insurance issue. I have no issue with bounce houses, I believe it had to do with the same way as we, ran into the hot air balloon drop for the golf balls. We couldn't have hot air balloon all the time, it was an insurance thing, so I believe the press board was insurance, I'm not positive, but I am in favor of bounce houses.
Yeah, for sure.
Anybody else? No? Finally,
Need a
for
vote,
rec,
need a vote.
looking for a motion to hire Sean Weller as a part-time rec laborer in an on-call capacity.
We need a vote, sorry, on the bounce houses.
We didn't make a motion or anything, there was no motion to make.
There was a motion and a second.
We need a motion to approve.
Yeah, he did.
Yep, so
Okay,
I got it, JD second.
all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. We're still looking to hire Sean Weller, just like we were. Part-time rec labor in a non-call capacity at $16 an hour pending successful completion of a background check and pre-employment visit.
Second.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Can I have a vote?
That's the way that works. Perfect. That one does.
You didn't actually call for a roll call, sorry, Jesse.
Oh, we have to have a roll call. Okay, roll call.
Okay. Councilmember Noonan.
Yes.
Councilmember Killian.
Yes.
Councilmember Stewart.
Yes.
Councilmember Donahue.
Yes.
Supervisor Fish.
Yes. Item number 8, last month we talked about overtime at the clerk's office during the school tax collection. What do we want to do for October? Didn't see it on there. The agenda back. Let's finish that one. What do we want to do about the overtime for October?
I mean, she's, after our last meeting with her, it sounds like we need to do the work. Aaron, do you know roughly what it ended up costing us in time or overtime?
We've only had one pay period completed so far. I think it was a total of, between the two of them, I think it was a total of 12 hours so far.
Would you need it for the entire month of October or just the first week?
We collect until Halloween, and we're likely to get a bunch at the end because people don't want to go into default.
Yeah.
I'm trying to limit as much as I can, but I don't want to not have the ability if we go over.
Just as the rest of our department heads, I'll support the town clerk in her request to approve the October overtime for the purposes of school tax collection.
Second.
Any discussion?
I don't want, just quick discussion, just get a comment out there. I don't want to oppose the job getting done properly, but, you know, we talked about it last month. Had some more time to think about it since the last meeting, and, you know, we think we found ourselves in this problem with deciding to make a personnel change, you know, walking into a high time. I think we self-created this a little bit, and I just want to get that out there because I don't think, I don't think it would be the best use of our funds, but if we've got to get this done for the legal obligations, I know we talked about that at length too, with the requirement to pay this, but I think it should be better with some of those big changes thinking ahead, because I don't think we should have had a major personnel change right before this season. So that's my thought on that.
Anybody else? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Back to recreation for one other item. We're looking to send out RFPs for the galvanized building at the rec that had been previously put out. The documents are prepared, we just need dates changed. I need a motion to send out RFPs for a galvanized cold storage building at the rec park.
So move.
Second. Any discussion?
Just one thing for council. Last time we did this, we only, because of just who the distributors are, we only got back emailed quotes instead of sealed bids. We could not get any of them to be hand-delivered sealed bids. Is there any way around that because I don't wanna see the town of Monroe pay more because a company doesn't wanna drive multiple states just to provide a bid, even though they could provide a great service.
They emailed them?
So what about a signature? Okay.
But since we're putting it to RFP and it wasn't delivered, we were starting to look into this and, well, so here it goes.
Can't they just mail? It has to
believe
be,
so.
the rule is it has to be in a sealed envelope, and when we did it for the sewer station on Bluebird Road, we put that back out there, RFP 3 different times, because people were turning them in, emailing them, or not following the protocols, and that, those are the town's procurement policies that the board has set in place, so they could put them in a sealed envelope, and then put that in an envelope and mail it to the town.
I guess that was where we were still having issues, so we had 3 bids, we had 3 good bids, we were trying to get this in last year, because it was on the budget, or in the budget last year, and that was what we ran into, so I'm just trying to get ahead before we get 3 bids from probably the same companies that are gonna be emailed to us.
So we're sending out the sealed envelope with them, so they can send it back to us?
I don't think so, but.
No,
Okay,
Counselor,
so,
we have the bid documents that say, this is what we're looking for, and this is how you need to respond to the town.
right, but last time was a
And that
challenge.
includes putting their proposal has to be in a sealed envelope to prevent collusion, kind of like when you did the house on Redmond Road, same thing. So that's all it's requested, and I would think that a company could put things in an envelope.
I understand the concept,
Yeah.
but we're not getting the bids back like we're supposed to, so.
Well, then we just make sure that they do it.
Can we call them?
Again, it's a challenge last time, that's just so Mark, like you said, we're
Put
not
it in
getting
envelopes, something.
those back to be, yes,
Can I make a suggestion?
please.
Do a bid opening.
We do, but if they don't submit them sealed, we can't open them, it's not sealed.
If we can call them and tell them specifics.
So we can just make this scenario up. Alex said it.
What about state contract? We don't need to do RFQs or bids.
Yeah, fortunately, our better pricing was outside area users or providers. All right, I guess we'll hope that we get some better turnout for this one. I've given you a heads up that we ended up with 3, we sent them back out asking for them, still didn't get them, and the project sat, not getting done.
So we do have a motion and a second.
Just need a vote. Vote for it? No.
And a motion and a second, all in favor?
Any opposed?
Motion carried. Item number 9. I'm sorry, public comment period. Second public comment period, anything at all that anybody'd like to address the board about?
Definitely think there's some folks here that live down on Spire that might want to talk to the board a little bit.
Yes, Joel Holden, 5 Byerhurst Drive. Colin, really just questioning the cannabis farm that has been growing a 4-acre plot, unbeknownst to us until we've spent the last 3 weeks having to smell it on a daily and hourly basis. When was that approved by the board?
So it was never approved by the board. It was licensed by the state.
Let's let Josh has looked into this extensively, the gentleman behind you. Josh, would you explain what's going on with that, how the procedure works?
Yeah, so we had discovered it at the end of July. Talked with the state of New York to confirm that they had a license, looked into it a little more, and at that point we sent a notice of violation and an order to remedy. Day 30 was just last week from the time that we sent them a letter. At this point, they had appealed their determination, so they'll have to go to the zoning board of appeals. Unfortunately, that next one, with the notice we have to require for that, is in October. So it's. So that's kind of where we are now. That's kind of the only thing we could think of with this, you know, and that affords those folks their property rights despite, you know, causing poor effects to the people down there. It's something that's in our code. It is something we've looked into, you know, I talked to the state today. I spoke with Assemblywoman Carrie Warner's office just to get clarification. It's kind of difficult to speak with the Office of Cannabis Management.
Are they within their application? Because I feel that application wasn't written properly.
That's something we're trying to get up. I had to, I'm not getting information from OCM. I had to FOIL them as of last week. I'm not sure when that FOIL will come back, but I did get acknowledged on that. You know, I have reached out to a couple of people trying to get at least a contact down there, including enforcement folks, and we haven't gotten that yet. So it's something we certainly are looking into. That's kind of where it stands.
Yeah, I think my major concern is that they propose to bring in greenhouses and make this into a bigger thing, and they're already breaking the rules.
Correct.
So realistically, it's going to impact. I didn't move here to live next to a farm. I moved actually away from a farm, so I didn't have to smell a farm.
Yeah.
No, your concerns are absolutely right. I cannot believe that, I've been at lengths with Josh. I cannot believe that as a town board, our only obligation or only say right now is to go through the code enforcement, to go to the planning board, and to have them go to ZBA. As your point exactly, their whole entire process will be done before we can even put them through the court, and you've had to deal with it.
I think they've been cited, haven't they?
I believe they have.
They were cited and they have to be in court, I think it's this week or next week, to answer charges. It turns into one of them, they did it, and, you know, it's asking forgiveness, not permission.
Yeah, that's a shame.
And you know, and really,
Not gonna work in the future.
I'm in favor. I think we should really be putting a moratorium on cannabis growth in town of Monroe until we can really sit down and see where it should be zoned, where it should be allowed. We've had no problem putting moratoriums on other businesses to get things done. This was not done properly. It should have had public input, and the fact, and I apologize, I have asked every single question of every single state agency to Josh to see what we could do to stop this immediately, because the answer of, oh, well, you're gonna get away with it, right? I don't know what our maximum fine is on this, but I don't think it's probably anything crazy substantial. So I apologize. I think as a board, we should really consider putting a moratorium on all growth until we can sit down and really look at where we should do this. Should it just be allowed, because right now that property is considered to be allowed for nurseries. And should we allow that kind of growth in that zone? We've had to take a look at, as we continue to grow and add neighborhoods, we've had to change our zoning. And I think this is one that we should put a pause on immediately, but that's just my opinion.
I think what was asked was, can I grow some blueberry bushes?
So, I feel bad for it. I've had multiple phone calls.
Yeah,
I am a positive.
stop smell. I mean, I have
Yeah.
children.
No.
It's all the way through my house. If I'm driving down the road, it's all the way in my car, in my vehicle.
Well,
Just like I pulled over,
Here's the law on this.
smoking marijuana. And I've never smoked marijuana in my life, but I'm not really going to start now because realistically, it's awful. And I feel like we should find a way to stop this immediately and destroy these fields.
I am being told that right now that there is no, and we can ask our attorney, I am under the influence working with Josh, thinking outside of reaching out to DEC, see if there's stormwater violations. I am being told that the only thing that we can do is what we've done. If there's something else we can do, council, I would be more than happy to entertain it. I was just given from Harry Warren's office tonight, this is the law, cannabis law, just got it at 6 o'clock, thanks to Josh, you got a connection down there. I agree with you, I don't think this is not the right thing to just wait it out until it's harvested in a few more weeks and then put it in the court, it's not right.
I appreciate that.
How do we, but can we act in a way to prevent this in the future? I know you said that with this idea of a moratorium, but you know, if you look up the company name, do a Google search, Shangri-La Dispensary, it shows on your phone right now.
Yeah.
They have dispensaries all over the country out to Missouri and back. You know, I mean, there's probably 15 of them that will pop up on your phone. They're huge. And that's what we're gonna be known for here.
Once again, they came in and they had a $2.2 million loan to buy that property and never asked if they could do it. Never asked. Totally against the law. They shouldn't be allowed to continue.
So there's nothing in
And
the
unfortunately,
original
everything's tied.
There's something you can.
They bought that property from a developer for a lot of money and it just came into it.
So what is the one thing? I'm saying there is something we can do.
So right now you have a violation of our zoning code, and Josh has cited that, which technically gives them the right to appeal that determination. And because there's ambiguity in our code, just like you're all understanding, it'll be up to the zoning board to determine whether or not Josh's interpretation is correct, which is that they need approval, a site plan approval in particular, to do this kind of work, and they don't have it. So that's a process that will play out. Because it's a violation, and because it sounds to me like the public, or that the board may believe that it's creating a public nuisance, you can always go to Supreme Court and ask the court to enjoin a public nuisance. I don't know, I couldn't predict for you whether that would be successful. I suspect that it would take, you would make an application for a temporary restraining order. We could do that. It's not cheap, and it may not be effective. But it's the only option left in light of the current situation, which is a whole.
So the restraining order would be for how long and how soon?
I honestly don't think we would obtain it. We could ask for it, but I suspect that we would be denied.
One thing that says is all these processes will be time consuming.
And
I
expensive.
don't know a lot about cannabis, but I believe it's just about harvest time. And I think by the time we got through a lot of the red tape that you're talking about, they're gone. They're gone. So I think what we have to do is we have to look forward, is to see if this is what we want in our community, if it would fit over there or somewhere else in our community. This is something I think we have to start looking forward, because right now they're gonna harvest that stuff in a week and it's gonna be gone. So I mean, that's, at least you won't be smelling it a couple of weeks. But I think we have to look forward as to what direction we want to go in with any kind of operation like this and that.
The greenhouses are just gonna start everything all over again.
Well, that's the thing,
If we don't put a stop to it, it's gonna
they have
start.
to go through further, the greenhouses,
Well, what keeps
I actually talked to one of the gentlemen down there, and I said, the sad thing is you put the cart before the horse, and you're pissing people off, most of the people in the community. I said, but if you wanna start now, start going through your process, do what you have to do, get to the planning board, put your site, get all that stuff done, and let the chips fall where they may. But that's what we have, I think that's the direction we have to go in now, is to look forward as to where this project is gonna go. We'll have public hearings, we'll have all kinds of other stuff. But I said, as far as what's out there now, it's gone in a week. 2 weeks tops, so I mean.
What keeps them from just growing?
In 4 acres.
4 acres.
So I think what will happen is that if the planning board process proceeds and there's a determination, we'll have a better sense of what our options are afterwards. If instead, and we've seen this happen before, the applicant actually withdraws or drops and just does nothing, then they're going to have to answer Josh's complaint. And then if it turns out that they don't have approval come springtime, you would be entirely in right to ask for an injunction to prevent them from having another season.
And what I would like to just put to the board is that our zoning law and how everything is written right now never ever considered the fact of having a cannabis farm in any of these districts. I think we should really heavily consider a moratorium so that this project doesn't even go before the planning board, because we have left our planning board hanging because they don't have any resources to even evaluate this process.
Mr. Noonan was on the board and he enlightened me, I believe, I was in the water department at the time, sitting in the meetings. Wasn't there a no vote from the board as far as cannabis dispensaries in the town of Monroe?
Right, no on-site consumption, no dispensary. But we didn't, that's not the grow factor on the commercial side. So this is the commercial side of it's a grow facility on the commercial side, which that's what that land is. zoned for, I guess. So, but no dispensary and no on the, on-site consumption.
So we have no regulations on this.
No.
And
Just to be clear, so we're in a C1 zone. And the C1 zone has a site plan review use, which is commercial greenhouses and nurseries. If you eliminated commercial greenhouses and nurseries in this zone, you would solve this problem, because that's the only way that they're allowed to have.
And I think when with previous boards determined that it would be a greenhouse or nursery zoning, it was, cannabis wasn't an option. So now you have a new aspect of this zoning, and I think to allow them to go in front of the planning board without having any guidance or regulation at the town board, we're just sending them through to get approval on just basically nursery, so.
How can the town planning board approve something that they have no regulations on?
That's my point, they can't disapprove it either.
But I think.
What are they gonna deny it on? No factors, there's no law. So they're gonna say, oh, we have no regulations, so we're leaving them hanging. You can't deny them because there is no law.
But you're not allowing them because there is.
Yeah, you are.
Isn't that a plant? Isn't that a plant? It is a plant, so it is addressable. Just like flowers are plants. I mean, it is a plant, whether you like it, you don't like it, you smoke it, you don't smoke it, whatever. It's a plant, it's an agricultural operation.
Right.
So I mean, we do address those things. So I mean, you know.
We have a room full of more people that have never been to a meeting. I've had phone calls over from residents, please asking us for.
I'm not saying these people right around wanting it or not wanting it, but you're saying that we don't have it addressed, we do address it.
No, we don't.
It is a plant.
No. We'll agree to disagree. But we don't address this as the gross. There's nothing in there to control odors for any sort of plants. What other plant has an odor? What other plant has an odor like this? It's something that's never been addressed.
Once again, that has to be addressed.
Well, we have no problem trying to stop other things at this board. So I think we should really look at it. We have people coming forward with a legitimate concern and complaint, and to say, okay, well, they're gonna go to the planning board, who again, we haven't given them any guidelines on it. Well, okay, go down and try to get approval, because we don't have anything.
That's when we go through the planning board, we have public hearings, we go through all the process, the proper procedures, and then we make decisions.
I think that we've been down the road, that we've sent projects before the planning board without the right guidance and got way too far and had to have done this, where right now is the time to do the moratorium, give them the guidance they need before some company spends a lot of money and sues us when we have to address this way later on.
Yes, please.
Finally got something we could do as a board good.
Yes, I guarantee you would not want this firehouse. Like, come on over.
I know, and you guys aren't doing this here, so many phone calls on us, so I apologize that we don't want to do this.
There are pros and cons as far as
No,
we're
there's
doing
not,
it.
I live in Porter.
We as a town.
All right. Come on, let's get back to this. Let's get back.
There's no process, you're saying we're gonna do a process, we
We're
don't
gonna
have
start with
guidance.
it. We'll start.
We'll table this for 2 more weeks.
You can direct.
Agenda item 9, committee reports. Anybody got any committee reports?
I have 2 committee reports. At the rec department, obviously we're going through our fence number 3, sounds like it might be at a future meeting. The Southlands Falls Youth Baseball is asking permission to go ahead and get the fence from the field taken down. They have a group of volunteers that want to pull the post, get the fence out, save the money, and just get a little bit of a jump start of what I feel like we have support from the board. We're just going through our process. Purchasing it. So I'd like to give them permission to go ahead and schedule those volunteers and coordinate with the rec director to make sure that it's done safely.
So we're covered in insurance and stuff for volunteers?
It's the same thing that we've done with the batting cages were done by volunteers over at Southlands Falls. We let them rake out and do the fields every day. I guess
So
we're,
they supervise?
that's what I was gonna say, have them coordinate with the rec director to make sure we're not bringing any crazy equipment out or anything unsafe. So, I would be okay with that. I think there's a risk in everything we do. And then just to bring everybody up to speed, I met with the fire department today. Just the rest of the board knows I spoke with the supervisor. They're asking to make sure that we have, I'm probably not gonna pronounce this right, but storage connections on all of the fire hydrants, but it sounds like the supervisor that should be there and available, so we'll have Christian jump on that. I spoke with Chris, they're looking, because they either got to sign a contract or not, and they're looking to have the fire department plowed by the town and the maintenance, or by our maintenance group. So, I spoke with Chris, and it sounds like he's gonna be able to at least handle the initial storm, get all the trucks so they have parking and get out, and he would have to come back and clean. I spoke with the fire department, they're gonna bring that back to their board and make sure they're comfortable with it. If not, they'll have to hire service. Hopefully we can save some money. The other items are some contractual concerns that we'll bring up at that time.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
Yes, actually, some of the, we're coming into budget season. So as far as, speaking with Chris and other highway departments, things that need to be purchased, moving forward, some of the one topic that comes to mind is some of these electric trucks. And if, depending on what happens with our tax cap, different percentages, maybe a possible recession, I don't know. So looking forward, Chris, can you tell me as far as what's been ordered or what hasn't been ordered based on these trucks there too that are electric, or the things that need to be purchased for the highway department?
Yeah, give me a second. I do have, so right now we have one new tandem on order.
And that was ordered when?
That was ordered about a year and a half ago.
It's electric or?
No, it's diesel.
Okay.
It is at the upfitters. We might see it by next October, not this October.
Next October?
Next October.
All right, so what's our rotation plan? How many years?
We don't have a rotation plan. Right now, we're using snowplows that go back to 1998.
So the newest truck that we have right now is what year?
2016, a small truck? Yes.
So.
Starting at 25, the manufacturers, the dealers have to start supplying, I believe it's one electric truck for every 5 diesel trucks.
Okay.
So we're looking at huge infrastructure costs, charging stations, power into the buildings. I don't know what that'll do with our insurance. It's going to be a mess.
Yeah. So my question is, what is the ratio per truck as far as for snow plowing, whether it's in the winter or the summer? 2 guys in a truck?
Well, our tandems are used year round between blacktop and snow plowing.
Yeah. So based on the number of people that we have, the ratio, for guys, the amount of guys that we have in our highway department, in the winter, we usually do part-time guys, right?
When we can get them, yes.
And
We run
how many
anywhere
trucks?
run anywhere from 4 to 6 trucks. It's, I don't know if you want to do this during the workshop.
I was just curious there too.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be a mess in the next coming years. We've never had a rotation, everything always gets kicked down the road.
So our electric truck is gonna be, it's on order?
No, we don't have any electric on order.
Okay.
My plan is to get some more trucks ordered. The agreement we're starting to hear from dealers is that trucks that are ordered, they're taking 2 to 3 years to come, and they're not holding municipalities to the order.
So you can cancel
When the
it.
truck is ready to be delivered, it can be canceled because we're not the only town that is up against the wall.
And these trucks are caught running how much?
Estimates I'm getting is around 400,000 plus for electric.
Okay.
Plus the infrastructure. And this is mandates from Governor Hochul.
And it comes with plows and.
Yeah, that's totally fitted.
Separate. Okay. If you had the opportunity, how many more trucks would you get besides the one we have coming right now?
I need to, I'd like to replace 4 total. And then that puts our next newest one up to 2015, which is 10 years old now. That's not including that one.
You're looking at $2 million anyway, roughly. between
It's
1.6
gonna
to 2.
be, yeah, it's gonna be,
Okay, no, good enough.
I would be better prepared at budget talk.
I understand. Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, item 10, supervisors items, just something for the board to think. Something for the board to think about. Katie and I talked about the transfer station, possibly finding a manager for down there. We talked about it last year, talked about it, I'm sorry, not last year, but January. It's something that to think about during budget time. And CT Mail has to recuse themselves from helping out with the town RFP on solar to landfill. If you decide to put solar there, because they're working on a solar company right now. What's interested in that? Item 11 is an executive session if we need it.
Excuse me, can I ask a question?
Item
Can I ask if you would set those budget workshops, because we need to notice them in the paper? And so if you wait till the meeting on the 8th, there might not be enough time to get the notice in the paper for when those budget workshops will be. So is there any way for you to figure out, maybe if any of those meeting dates would work for you? Sorry.
But you can get numbers, days, times that you can be here.
Yeah, so based on the dates that you read earlier, we can either get back, today is Tuesday, the 24th. Say by Friday, if everybody got back in, would that be enough time to say, look at calendars and everybody get their dates and see what we have? Not unless someone's going on vacation, but we can see what we have.
Once again, it's October 10th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 22nd, 7 o'clock.
Do we have to set those in a meeting? Do
What?
we have to set our budget workshops at a meeting?
Yeah. We need 3 of them. Can we set them tonight?
For the date,
The 10th, it's a Thursday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the 15th, 16th, and 17th, the following week. And the following week on Tuesday, the 22nd.
I mean, I'm good with October 10th right now, we could at least set the first one.
Same here.
And so, I mean, we could set the first workshop for October 10th at 7 PM.
10:10 would be Pat. Yep. Mark.
Jamie can't make it, so.
I can't make it.
There's actually only 2 out of those 5 dates that work for my schedule, so.
All right, you wanna start those 2 then?
What days?
That's the way to give me that. The 15th, I'm sorry, the 15th, 6:30. That's a
7
Tuesday.
o'clock.
What's that?
7 o'clock.
Yeah, if you do 7, I can't do anything earlier than 7.
All of them are gonna be at 7 o'clock.
Okay. Tuesday the 15th works for me, does it work for everybody else?
Yep.
16th to 7,
15th,
17th.
yep, 7.
Pat, I don't. Make it on the 15th?
Yep. It's the 22nd, at 7 o'clock work for everybody, that's a Tuesday as well, 22nd.
We need 3, right, Liz? All right, we need one more day, either 16th, 17th, or 22nd.
Wasn't the 22nd a town board meeting then?
No, I don't think so.
No, it's not the 22nd or the 8th.
Second, fourth.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's
it's-
7 days,
Yeah, it's
no,
more, yes, Kyle, you're right.
no, the 29th will be the last board
That's why I'm
meeting.
free on the 22nd.
Now, the 22nd is the days just fall earlier, the 8th and the 22nd of the town board meeting. So you could do the 29th is kind of close. Because you got that, Jeffrey said he needs to have a preliminary out before then, so.
I mean, we could consider moving the town board meeting from the 22nd to the 29th because
It's not the 22nd.
it is. It's the
It's the
second
second.
before.
Here it is.
There's
But
5
it's the
Tuesdays.
second, the last Tuesday of the month.
Second before.
There's just an extra Tuesday this month.
We can move that meeting.
I would move it because it'd be very early in the month.
You could move the town board meeting to the 29th and then do a budget workshop on the 22nd.
Which that would help with vouchers anyways, to do that.
Yeah, on the,
At 22, 7 o'clock, Kyle?
Yep.
and you're gonna move the town board meeting to October 29th.
Yep. And the audit meeting.
Yeah.
JD, can you make any of them?
Yeah, I'm good the 15th, I'm good the 22nd.
So is there anything in the 22nd?
Yeah, I'm good the 22nd.
Josh, the 23rd is the zoning.
ZBA.
Yeah, CBA is the 23rd. Or there's also the 24th, which is a Thursday. If that's another one that Kyle will have work.
Yeah.
24th.
You the 24th too? Yeah.
I'm good the 24th.
I think we got them.
So I'm seeing 15, 22, and 24 for budget workshops.
10th, 15th, to 22nd.
He can't do the 10th. Neither can Kyle.
15th, 22nd, 24th.
Not all of us.
I mean, if we can rework the schedule to be there, I think it's important for all 5 board members to be at the budget meeting. So right now, everybody can be there on the 15th, the 22nd, the 24th, and we gotta move the town board meeting to the 29th. If you can do the 24th.
Anything you wish.
It wasn't me, it was your confidential secretary in the back.
Anything you wish.
He will clear his calendar.
So we're not doing it on the 10th?
No.
Okay.
Somebody want to make a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
We gotta move the.
You gotta
Make a motion for October, this is for your secretary, October 15th at 7 PM for a budget workshop, October 22nd at 7 PM for a budget workshop, October 24th at 7 PM for a budget workshop, and I make a motion to move the audit and the town board meeting from the 22nd to the 29th at 6:45 and 7 PM respectively.
Second.
Well, that was easy.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Now we need a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Thanks.
All in favor?
That was exhausting.
Any opposed?
Thanks, Aaron.
We go with